What's up, everybody? Wilhelm here, and welcome back to the channel. We have been fairly lucky the last couple days now. We have brand new news in regards to Atlas, and an update on the map that you can see here with Captain's Log number 39, Meet the Crew, from News from the Cabin. The first thing to cover is going to be the addition to the development team for Atlas, and we have confirmed news have left the development team for Atlas for the time being. They did move over to Ark Survival Evolve and are, as of the creation of this video, still working on content for that game. For example, found on the forums by Jat that saying that already news is out there, probably no surprise to most that Dolly and myself have been working on Ark for some time now. We're glad to finally be able to introduce some of the new Atlas crew members, including their community folk. It was a pleasure sailing the seas with y'all, and we're looking forward to the changes that are coming from the team. So, there's no real indication here from Jat that Dolly or Jat will be going back to the Atlas team, but we definitely thank them for their service and their time that they have put in developing the team, and I wish them the best success in both in Ark and, you know, hopefully, I don't know, maybe they'll find time, or maybe they'll have time to come back to Atlas. But yeah, that's confirmation of Dolly and Jat leaving the development team, making way for the new members, whom I'm going to introduce right now. The first new addition to the development team is the developer by the name of, oh gosh, how do I pronounce this? Chisma. I guess it's Spanish? Okay, Chisma. So developer Chisma is first up to the plate here. Some of their professional experience includes being a senior community manager for Grapeshot Games, as well as 5 years worth of experience working in the gaming industry, with a specialization in building up nonprofits. Something a little bit about their personal life is that when they're not working, they like to play monster catching games, farming games, and first-person shooters, and that they have been playing Atlas with the development crew over the last few months, sinking, quote, many hours into the game, and that they are excited to get to know this awesome community of scallywags. So, kind of interesting. I'm not exactly sure how nonprofits, how that ties to the gaming industry as a whole, and specifically this type of game, but maybe there will be a little bit more light shined onto the specifics of that as we further get to know new addition to the team. Again, that is developer Chisma. The next developer lined up here is developer Nami being added to the team here. They don't exactly mention any particular experience in regards like what they've done in the past or anything like that, but most of the post here that they've put up is fairly playful. For example, quote, fun fact, Nami drew a life-size Jack Sparrow for my final art project in high school. I'm sure that qualifies me as a pirate. Nami also likes to make fun of themselves in regards to their namesake, so, quote, unlike my namesake, I am directionally challenged, but, you know, as I like to quote, there is little difference between being lost and exploring, and we're excited to be exploring all the new things coming to Atlas with all of you, smiley face. So, there's not much to say in regards to experience, but it's mostly a very playful self-description, not taking themselves too seriously, which is probably a very well-needed addition to the team. So, you know, try to keep the fun in all the crazy seriousness that needs to be put out there, including a roadmap and, well, I guess the fundamental construction of the game going forward. But yeah, so Nami's going to be joining the development team as one of the other community managers. And it looks like that the playfulness that they've kind of demonstrated in their self-description here and introduction to us is going to probably go a long ways to keep the soul of the game and the community in check. And last on our list here is developer Primus. Coming up to the bat, we have some interesting prior work experience where they outlined that they recently joined the Grapeshot team as the lead designer for Atlas. They go on to say that their focus is to steer the new vision for the game by creating a busy roadmap of content as they move towards 1.0 release. Some of their prior game development experience includes working on the game called Wildstar, specifically on the player experience, economy, and crafting efforts, which I've heard of Wildstar. I don't actually have any idea of what the economy or crafting system looks like in that game, but if it's big enough for me to have heard about it from underneath my personal rock that I live under, hopefully it'll be good. I'll definitely look into that and see, maybe even put an opinion piece out whether or not I think that the Wildstar crafting system is one that would fit in Atlas, but I digress. The other professional game development experience developer Primus has is at Riot Games, where they were a game designer working on the new player experience, matchmaking, and ranking system. They go on to say that much of my career has been spent developing gameplay that enhances how people competitively work together and against each other in a simulated world. It sounds legit. We'll see what we'll see what developer Primus has in store for us, especially that roadmap that they immediately mentioned right out of the gate. So definitely gonna be looking forward to that. Mod Primus then finishes by saying that they play a myriad of game genres, including grand strategy, shooters, and co-op survival games. So a lot of the genres that are relatively related to Atlas, and well, most of the games, in fact I play all of those particular game genres. I'm glad to have somebody that is in the same realm and the same camp, who is going to be the new lead developer here for Atlas. I also wanted to add here that Primus, even though this might be somewhat confusing, is their username is Gortok, that's Gortok, on the forums, so keep an eye out for them posting on the forums. Now, moving on to the big reveal here. The developers did reveal the new map, the official new map, which I am very happy to say matches the data mining efforts from Twix, who did actually find the testing world that they were using to determine the size and actually the layout of the map and the specific locations, at least at the creation of this video. Let's see what they have to say about the new map. Quote, "We redesigned the whole map, and today we wanted to give Pathfinders more insight on some of the upcoming changes. The new map was designed with the goal to drive more interactions between players, both competitive and cooperative." So, just looking at the map design itself, it's not exactly evident that the map design will in fact achieve this without any information being given on the announcements made last week in regards to trade winds, farms, and warehouses, and in addition to any further systems that they have yet to reveal or outline the specific functionality of. So just off the face, just looking at the map doesn't necessarily support that claim, but we'll see what they have in mind as they give us a little bit more information on how the systems are going to come to play with the map design and layout. They further go on by saying that the Golden Age Islands are now moving to the map center, surrounding it with high-density Ring of Lawless territory, and adding sparse island outskirts where players can claim territory to have lower risk experience. I don't see how this is going to reduce risk unless there's going to be a specific system in place whereby the further you are out on the edges of the map, the harder it is to raid. Or are they just inferring that just the distance alone will reduce your risk? Because if that's the assumption, that it takes more time to get to the edges of the map, there's like less reason for people to be there on the quote outskirts. I can tell you right now that that is not going to be the case. It was never the case in any of the prior seasons in Atlas. I personally have gone to the polar regions in the previous iterations of the map and wiped entire tribes by myself just to get all of their loot, because nobody would take their time to actually go all the way out there. And I've come back, weeks and months later, and those players are just gone. They've either quit the game or they've moved on to other companies. I mean, you Atlas veterans will understand the general series of events that happens when a company gets totally wiped and all their stuff is taken. So I hope that there's some sort of game system in place or some sort of mechanics that are implemented into the game that actually back up the, air quotes, reduced risks, because I think it's a false assumption to say that just because somebody is further out on the map that somebody isn't going to come and get you. They go on further by saying that this will reduce the amount of sailing between core islands, incite more conflict, and give more opportunity for companies to capture and control water lanes for the upcoming trade route system. Very interesting. But we're getting ahead of ourselves on that new system. We'll reveal details in the weeks ahead. So they are going to be releasing some little tidbits, and hopefully maybe even a detailed news post specifically about the trade route system. Which this is the first time that I've heard about a trade route system. So maybe the trade route system will directly relate to the trade winds that they mentioned in the prior news post. It sounds like they're going to have a larger concentration of islands the further you travel towards the center of the map grid to, I guess, incentivize more players living there. However, if you couple that with, say, a system of you can get more resources the closer you are to Golden Age ruins, then this would probably actually support what they're attempting to accomplish here by kind of giving players and companies incentives to be closer together. So higher risk, higher reward, but we don't have any information on that as of yet. And with all of that said, guys, that concludes this Atlas News Update video. If you've made it this far, you are a legend, and more than likely you are interested in Atlas. I invite you to like, comment, and subscribe on this video for more Atlas news, as well as my future survival episodes that will be coming out soon on the channel for Atlas, as well as the many other games that I play. And with that plug out of the way, I want to invite you to comment your opinions. Are the developers bringing the game into a direction that you think is going to be positive or negative? Reasons why? I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts down below.